Good day from the 65th Annual Cannes Film Festival. I'm Ian Roberts, and I'm presenting to you a program created by Paramax and Monde Ouest, a program entitled Cannes Echo 2012 in partnership with Screen International. In our program, we have a unique opportunity to take a look into the world of film finance. Through a series of interviews and roundtables, we gain valuable insight from the leaders of the film finance industry and how they are bridging the gap between unique storytelling and the financial resources to make them become a big screen cinematic experience. In this edition of our Cannes Echo series, we had the opportunity to sit down with executives from the insurance, production, distribution, and the film fund world in understanding the meaning of creativity in film finance today. Let's take a closer look at what they had to say. For those of us out there, why don't we start here with Mr. Katriel SCHORY. Tell us a bit about what you do with the Israel Film Fund.
Well, the Israel Film Fund is the main financing body in Israel for financing and investing and promoting Israeli feature films. In fact, in a country the size of Israel, there's no way of producing full-length feature films without public funding. So we are actually the first door that everybody knocks on. And we call for submissions, we read, we select, we invest, we follow the productions. We are very heavily involved in the marketing and distribution in Israel itself, and then helping the producer venture into the world with their films.
Terrific. And in terms of the challenges faced in the market today, what are you facing here in looking at finance and obtaining finance for Israel?
Well, first of all, we come from a small country with a very distinct language, and our films are basically Hebrew-speaking, which of course doesn't make it easy in the international marketplace. Yet on the other hand, I believe that because of the power and the strength of our stories, we managed to generate enough interest and investments in our films. I must say that in the recent years, more than 1/3 of all the money invested in Israeli feature films comes from overseas in the form of co-productions. And this is a tremendous achievement and a tremendous contribution to our filmmakers and to our budgets.
As far as it relates to co-productions, how much do you rely on co-productions with Europe and America and also other areas in terms of financing your films?
As I said, a heavy chunk of our investments come from overseas. 1/3 is a tremendous percentage. Our main partners are primarily Europe. I must say that we just finished a survey of the last 10 years in which we saw that we had with France more than 41 co-productions, with Germany 25, with Canada 8, Poland 5, and so on. So we see that we have some real partnerships with countries with whom we have some real co-production treaties. Unfortunately, America is not on the radar because America doesn't have a public funding system, and America, in fact, does not believe in co-production treaties. So our natural partners in North America are only Canada.
What is the significance here in terms of defining creative finance today, especially in your role for Israel Film Fund?
I think that for countries our size and industries our size, we have to venture out to the world. We cannot fully finance our films in our own country, in our own market. Basically, the financing sources in Israel is the public money, is the broadcasters to a certain extent, and then one or two distributors that are ready to risk once in a while a bit of money. So definitely we have to venture out to the world. We heavily rely on international co-productions. And international co-productions, it's not a magic formula. There's a price to pay, there are compromises to be made. Not every film really fits co-productions, but those who fit, I think that we try as a fund to encourage our filmmakers, to take them along with us, to work day and night actually as matchmakers, to bring them together with possible financiers and so on. Our main partners in Europe have been so far, of course, the public funds are my colleagues in a way, the broadcasters. I would say that Arte Cinema in France, for example, is the second largest investor in Israeli feature films after the Israel Film Fund. By far more than all the Israeli funds, broadcasters put together, as odd as it may sound. But definitely I think that we will have to create a kind of a scheme in Israel along the French Soficas or something like that in order to try and get some equity investment in Israel. On one hand, there is quite a lot of money over there, but they are looking for a way which will be a solid way with tax incentives and maybe a form of a sofika which will allow the investor to feel safe and secure that his money is being handled in a proper and a professional way.
How international sales and pre-sales plays into creative financing for you and your side. Is there anything that we can add there in understanding that development?
For us, pre-sales or MGs and all of that are rather limited when it comes to, because of the language barrier and the size of the films, the scope. Usually the films are not like big, broad type films and so on. We really have to rely on investments at the outset and not rely so much on pre-sales and so on. The pre-sales come, but they are rather limited. So we have to look more into finding ways of getting the budgets at the outset. And as I said, we are opening up to some more countries. There are some more markets. There's some more opportunities. We've been doing quite a lot of work in countries and like bringing filmmakers from countries like the Scandinavians, like even former Soviet Union countries and so on, connecting our filmmakers, looking for stories. And there is money there, but you have to know how to work with them, and you have to find, of course, your reliable partners and so on. On the other hand, we also decided in the fund as a policy to further the development. And when we say development, not only putting money into developing the script, but developing the package, which means venturing out, helping our filmmakers find the potential financiers and help them with that. And also, we also decided now that we should not go in a different levels, as too many different levels of investment, because the way we participate is in the way of an investment. So we do some super micro budgeting films up to $100,000, $150,000, not exceeding $200,000. And on the other hand, we give more money to films like as a more proper budget. But these mid-sized films that we used to do, we are trying now to put a bit aside.
The ultra-bankable actor or actress, how do you attract an ultra-bankable actor or actress to do films, independent films, or even those activities from the Israel Film Fund's perspective?
With us, it's rather easy. We don't have a language barrier, by the way. I mean, we can invest also on films which are not necessarily speaking our language, yes? But I noticed that most of us, or most of the Israeli filmmakers, the creative people, they go for local actors, local stories, and so on. And in terms of the local talent, we don't have a real problem, actually, because also we don't have in a country in our size what you call a bankable actor. We don't have an Israeli actor that his face on the poster will guarantee you 10,000 tickets in the box office. So the actors are there, they're very good, they're very professional, but they don't really play a real factor when it comes to raising finances in Israel.
Thank you all. Ian Roberts, Paramax Films, here at Con Echo Series 2012. Thank you for watching our Con Echo 2012 series.